makeup artist, and Rick Baker, also who was the makeup specialist. First we had to come and get the molds made for our face, and they put these little tubes up our nose. We had to sit there for a few hours while the cast was being made. That was all before we would go to set, and that was like a month before. They made from that cast, they made a mold, and then they made pieces for our makeup. And it would take, in the beginning, 4 hours. And as we went further into the film, they got better at it. It would take a couple hours. Usually, I'd fall asleep in the makeup chair, and when I woke up, it was done. But the makeup was excellent, and V. Neal went on to win a few Academy Awards. She became Johnny Depp's personal makeup artist for a few years, and I think she worked on Pirates of the Caribbean. And I recently saw her a few months ago, after 25, 30 years, at a party, and she's doing a show on, I think, the Sci-Fi channel called Face Off. I don't know if they have it over here, but it's all about the makeup. And it was great makeup, and it was my first real big film. And the eyeballs, the eyes back then, we had, this isn't really makeup, but the glass contacts. And they were very uncomfortable.
It wasn't the same like now.
No, now they have the soft contacts. And when one time they were hoisting us up upside down, and the wires would cut into the wood and the dirt, and the dirt would get in our eyes. And it was like torture. It was very painful. I had a very cool, the whole style of the film, the wardrobe. Joel Schumacher, the director, was, before he got into directing, he was a stylist, and he would design the department store windows in the fashion world, so he had a real sense of style. And Susan Becker was our wardrobe specialist, and we had a budget to go shopping, and he let us pick our own wardrobe. So we went down Melrose Avenue in Hollywood at the time, and we all got to pick out our own wardrobe. So I picked a leather jacket, and they painted the leopard on my arm, and they made 5 of those jackets because of stunts, and I got to take 2 of them home with me. I still have one of them. My girlfriend at the time had the other, and then it got stolen. But since I've done a few of these conventions, I've seen a couple of those other jackets that people brought, that somehow they got their hands on from, you know, I don't know where they got them.
Yeah.
But I got to still keep the leather jacket, and then the necklace we made out of just found objects. You know, bottle caps, you know, little ornaments, but that necklace was pretty cool too. You know, to be honest, I had really long hair, but they wanted to make it even longer. It was long, but they did put some extensions that they tied in, and it was very embarrassing because I'd be on the elevator and a piece of the hair would fall out in the elevator, and it just looked like a rat tail. And eventually they just fell out, and my hair was long enough by then, mostly my hair. Yeah. But the other actors had more extensions.
Yeah.
Yes, The Lost Boys has stood the test of time, and it still plays as a film. And I've met a lot of young, new fans whose parents were young fans when the movie was made, and now they learn about the film from their parents or from their older brothers or sisters. And I think when we made this film, Joel and Warner Brothers, Dick Donner, Richard Donner, the producer, you know, they knew how to make a good film, and it was all about the story, you know, the narrative, the through line of the two brothers who were different in age. One was looking out for the younger brother. They were in a town that they felt new in, and you know, there was a relationship between them and the mother. There was young love between Jamie Gertz and Jason Patric. There was the grandfather story, so there was a lot about family and alienation and being an outsider, and then the Lost Boys, you know, as a family unit as well. You know, so there were a lot of different storylines that engage an audience, characters, and development of that relationships. But then there was the story of David, Jason Patric. Is that David or Michael? Michael, I can't.
Michael, yeah.
Michael, yeah, and him falling in love with Jamie and wanting to be sort of a part of something. But you know, I just think that there was a real narrative, a real story that still holds up today. And then the music was fantastic. G. Tom Mack wrote the song "Cry Little Sister" that became the theme song to the movie. I've stayed in touch with him over the years, and you know, it's interesting. He never saw the film when he wrote the song. Joel had called him up and was a fan of his music, and he was just walking down Fifth Avenue after he was told about the story. He read the script, and then in about 2 hours, the song came into his head, and he went into the studio and wrote it. And he says if he had ever seen the movie, he probably never would have written the song the same way. But he just was inspired from the screenplay. And I mean, it's a classic, great song. And the whole musical score, I mean, the film stands up today because of the story, the relationships, the music, just the artistry of the filmmaking. You know, it was a very excellent crafted film. The cinematographer, Michael Chapman, had already been a famous cinematographer. He had done Raging Bull with Martin Scorsese. So, you know, when they hired him, they knew it was going to have a dynamic visual look to, you know, express Joel's vision. And then, you know, we filmed up in Santa Cruz. Became Santa Carla in the film, but that was a character in itself. You know, the boardwalk, all those characters and the faces and the people that live up there, sort of ex-hippies, and you know, really added texture and reality to this environment. When you make a film, you know, you try to create a world. It's and all the little details that in the background, and all the little things that make that world more resolute, and you know, it's just a fantastic environment to film this movie. And then, as well as, I think Bo Welch was the production designer, and we shot probably a month or two up in Santa Cruz, and then the rest of the film on the Warner Brothers back lot and soundstage. You know, as big as this whole place, and they would build the different sets. The cave was just incredible. That was all done on a set. Now, the exterior of the cave we shot from coming in from the ocean into the exterior of the cave. But once you enter the cave, that was a set that Bo Welch designed. And you had the Doors picture of Jim Morrison, and you know, just all the garbage can fires. I mean, it was just incredible production value. It was a very well made film, and I was. My first big studio film, I never would expect it. I didn't even realize how much of an impact the film had, even when it was released, until I started coming to some of these conventions and meeting the fans and seeing that it really affected so many people and so many artists, even you know, I've heard stories like Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails was affected by the film, and he sort of created some of his music and style from that vibration. I think we sort of captured what was going on the streets, you know, in a way, and it was reflected in the movie and then put back out, and then more people picked up on that fashion style. It was sort of a symbiotic connection.
Yeah.
You mean between Michael and Jamie character, star? I never thought about that. But I think that's the young love, you know, and they wanted to have that, you know, Jamie's star character hadn't fully turned as a vampire yet, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
And so she was still part, you know, connected to her human emotions and her feelings, and she was trying maybe to hold on to that. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. And Michael hadn't turned full vampire yet either. So it's just that young love element that maybe Joel was trying to express in a sense, versus the more violent young vampires that maybe weren't as sensitive to that.
Maybe like a portrait of vulnerability, like, you know, because the vampires you can't kind of harm them, and then there's like young, harmless love.
Loss of innocence, trying to hold on to that, I don't know.
But it was kind of cheesy.
It was cheeky, yeah?
Yeah, it was really cheesy, so.
Okay.
But yeah.
Thank you. So great to meet all of you, and look forward to more Weekend of Hell, and I hope you're having a good time. If there's any more questions, I'm happy to answer. If not, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Big round of applause for Billy Wirth.